Dorothy? Hi, so good to see you. You drove, oh my God, it's so good to see you. You drove on the 210, the 91, hello darling, the 710, the 405, the 5, oh God, the what? 101, the 134. And you found parking. Well done. Hello. Hi, my friends. Oh, thank you. Oh, kisses. Well, I'm so proud of you that you found parking and you made it here on time. And you know what? If you only have these wonderful wings to get you here, well, perhaps one day. Today I'm going to be telling you one of my very favorite stories about one of my very favorite butterflies called Naomi. Well, she began her journey here as a teeny tiny little egg. Once hatched, it is my responsibility to watch over this tender and very hungry caterpillar. Well, you could call me a guardian angel of sorts, or perhaps some kind of fairy godmother. But the truth is, I am neither angel nor fairy. As you know, I am Madame Imago, monarch of the realm of metamorphosis, lady of the love, queen of the chrysalis, and protector of all pupa. Well, I can see that you've heard of me, so thank goodness I don't have to fire my publicist. It is of the utmost importance that you understand the ways of butterflies so that you can best understand yourselves. So before I go on with Naomi's story, let me see, by the raising of your hands, how many here hold a degree in entomology? Really? You know this is going to ruin my stand-up. This is going to be quite a challenge, but we shall prevail. Entomology. It's a branch of zoology dealing with insects. And I specifically am a Lepidoptera. Oh, you know what that is? In layman's terms, I'm a butterfly. Being that I hold degrees not only in entomology, quantum, astro, and metaphysics, well, I am quite proud of my PhDs in both philosophy and literature. Now, I tried to help that poor lad Lewis Carroll, but it all just seemed to go up in a puff of smoke. Truth be told, he couldn't give up that damned hookah. Lastly, I hold degrees in both psychiatry and psychology. Fun fact. The original term butterfly comes from the Greek word psyche. Well, the ancients knew that to study the butterfly was akin to the study of the mind and soul. So, there you have it. You all taking notes, aren't you? Those programs, they're not just for fanning yourselves. Well, I received my calling to the care of caterpillars when I was under the tutelage of my esteemed friend and colleague, Dr. Einstein. Oh, you know, Ali Pooh, as I affectionately called him. Well, he would say to me over and over again, Imago, if you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, then you don't understand it yourself. So you see, explaining it to you should be no problem at all. After centuries of dedication to my work, I realized that I have quite a penchant for those multi-talented and ever so funny Jewish girls of the stage and screen. Now, our story begins. Oh! It feeds me. It energizes me. Our story begins in 1963 You know, it was a big year for some of my pupa. Oh, I made it funny. Pupa, pupil. It's a pun. Oh dear. Well, you see it? Oh, how about this side? Babs had released her first album. Joan was killing it in comedy. And I was the wind beneath Beth's wings. So I was ready for a new challenge. So I decided to take on Naomi. Oh, my lovely little lava. Just 5 years after she was put into the loving care of an East Coast Jewish couple called Harold and Shirley, who had recently migrated west to get out of those nasty winters. Shirley, how is it we can put a man on the moon and the Negro still can't vote? What is wrong with this world? Did you hear? Both Dr. King and Nelson Mandela have been arrested again. Oh, we're sending more troops into Southeast Asia. Doesn't anybody care? There's gonna be another war. Oh, Harold, eat something, booby, and try to relax. I know you're upset, but, sweetheart, we are doing so much already. Surely I should be in Montgomery. I should be helping Dr. King, organizing and protesting. Shh, Bubby, lower your voice. We don't want Naomi to hear us get upset, do we? And you know, we can't afford a plane ticket since you lost your job. Lost my job? Surely I was banned and blacklisted from teaching. My license was stolen from me by that American fascist, whose name I will not say at this table, Senator McCarthy. And for what? Because at NYU I joined the Students for Social Democracy? At least I met you there, my love. Oh, we had the best conversations back in the day in Brooklyn, didn't we? I mean, we talked about Marx and Freud with that scrawny little Jewish kid who lived up the road. What was his name? Oh, yeah, Bernie. Bernie Sanders. Wow, I miss that kid. Oh, Bernie. I wonder what he's doing these days. Naomi, sweetheart, what a beautiful art project you're working on. What is it? Mommy, Daddy, look, I made a butterfly. Do you know why I made a butterfly? Because I love butterflies, and guess what? Someday, I'm gonna learn how to fly and be a butterfly. Oh, the child had benefited so from her creative upbringing. Why, she made her wings with every color available to her. You know, she was obsessed with beauty and butterflies, and I just wonder where she got that from. The universe allows me to inspire my little ones with their infatuation with their true identity. But you know, even I, as shocking as it seems, have my limitations. I am not allowed to intervene in the matters of, well, let's see, geography, politics, or pedology. Well, that dirty business would just soil my reputation. Oh, God, I told you you'd ruin my stand-up. Pedology, the study of soil. Dirty business. Hey, God. My powerful prowess alights upon these, with my galactic powers of evolutionary radiation. Oh, you don't know what that is either? All right. Evolutionary radiation is an increase in taxonomic diversity and morphological disparity due to adaptive change or the opening of echospace. Clear? Yes. Excellent. If you're still confused, let me dumb it down for you. I have magical powers that help people to achieve their highest human form. Behold, pupa. Pupa who need pupa. Pupa who need pupa. Oh, no, that's not my work. Back to Naomi. At the age of 5, oh, she's so cute, she was in the caterpillar stage where her only job was to eat. And in most Jewish families, this is no problem at all. Delicious briskets. Nobody was vegan back then, by the way. Bagels, cream cheese and lox, and mouth-watering matzo ball soup were used to cure the smallest cold, celebrate the grandest holiday, simply just because it was Tuesday. This ensured the success of my little one getting through her first chrysalis iteration. Now, it is in this stage that most humans feel stuck and panicked that they will not survive. But most humans don't realize that they have the most magnificent monarch DNA inside of them. Little Naomi was crying out from deep within her with an unspeakable yearning for things, well, how shall I tell you? You know, they're just things more like me. I mean, she could feel my presence. Well, how could you not? But she had not yet learned the language of the Lepidoptera. Now, she loved to play outside, seeking to find some other worldly creatures to speak to her. Hello, fairies. Are you there? I know you are, but you're always hiding. Oh, please come out and play with me, please. Oh, look, it's a little butterfly. You're so beautiful. Oh, no, please don't fly away. Poor, frustrated little creature. She was always in such a hurry to unfurl her wings. Just when Naomi was about to burst into tears, a new little neighborhood girl came bounding down the sidewalk towards her. Hey, hi. My name is Christy. I just moved in down the street. What you doing? Oh, hi. Nothing. I'm just, I'm looking for fairies and talking to butterflies. Ooh, did you find any fairies? No. I wish I had a fairy godmother who could teach me about fairies. Ooh, you mean like Cinderella or Tinkerbell? Oh, well, those are just fairy tale, Philly. Duh. They're stories about fairies. Well, I don't know how to help you with that, but I know that I can talk to Jesus. I learned all about him in Sunday school. What? You go to school on Sunday? That is so weird. Well, it's really not so bad. I mean, we sing songs, we do arts and crafts, and we learn stories from the Bible, not fairy tales. Stories from the Bible. Stories from the Bible. Nope. I don't know any stories from the Bible. Well, that's really weird. I mean, what do your parents teach you? Well, I know all about my colors because my daddy is an artist. Like if you mix blue and yellow together, you get green. And I know all about music, that Mozart was a child prodigy. And I can choreograph my own ballet to the Nutcracker Suite. I know all about World War II because my daddy was in the army and all the terrible things that have happened to the Jewish people, like Holocaust. I know about the Civil Rights Movement and Martin Luther King Jr. and Mahatma Gandhi taught non-resistance, and because war is really, really, really bad. Oh yeah, we're supposed to do good things for other people who can't help themselves. I know that women had to suffer and die because they wanted to vote. And I know that some people are called terrible names just because their skin is a different color and they want to vote. So I know that voting is very, very, very important because people have suffered and died because they wanted to vote. Oh yeah, and I know all my numbers and my ABCs too, so there. That's what I know. What do you know? I know. I know that Jesus loves me, and I can talk to God anytime I want. What? You can talk to God? Well, yeah, I can talk to Jesus, and Jesus talks to God, I think. Anyway, it's super easy if you want to try, silly. Before you go to bed, here's what you do. You just fold your hands like this, close your eyes, and say, "Dear Jesus." And that's it. And then God will speak to me. Oh, do you think he'll teach me how to fly and how to find fairies? Well, dear sweet little Naomi was so excited, but she did have a feeling now this was something to be kept secret, something she did not want to tell her parents, even though she didn't know why. So she politely excused herself from the table, volunteering for bedtime. Yeah, volunteering for bedtime. She had no idea how this made her mummy very suspicious. Okay, what did Christy say again? Okay, before I go to bed, let's see, I could fold my hands, close my eyes, and say, "Dear God," or "Jesus." Naomi, darling, what in the world are you doing? Oh, nothing, Mommy. I'm just praying. I'm talking to God. Naomi, listen. You know, sweetheart, that we don't believe in God, so praying will do you no good. Sweetie, it's much better to believe in yourself and to do good for other people. That's what it means for us to be Jewish, Bubby. Now be a good girl. Get into bed. That's it. Close your eyes. That's my girl. Sweet dreams, sweetheart. And Naomi, don't ever let me catch you praying again. Our poor little caterpillar could not grow her wings that day. Well, she tried to be brave to fight off her tears, so she curled up into a little cocoon and called it, "There is no God, believe in myself, and don't upset Mommy anymore." And she fell into a dreamless sleep. The caterpillar stage. This will be the first of many cocoonings for my little one. You see, for you humans, unlike the butterfly, human metamorphosis takes much longer. Let me elucidate on the matter. Human metamorphosis goes through many iterations, transmutations, configurations, and adaptations. Why, in order to become a full-fledged butterfly, one must possess the greatest imagination and indomitable spirit. Now, my little lover possessed these qualities at such a young age, but she had much growing up to do. Let's move on 5 years later to 1969, when Naomi was 11 years old. Well, it was an incredible year in world events, including 3 magnificent monarchs, female monarchs, who had been appointed to rule their realms. Queen Elizabeth of England, Golda Meir of Israel, and Indira Gandhi of India. Richard M. Nixon was inaugurated as President of the United States, and James Earl Ray pled guilty to the murder of Martin Luther King Jr., and Neil Armstrong took his historic steps on the moon. Well, never mind all this trivia. After all, our story is about Naomi. Before Naomi was in puberty, she had marched against the war in Vietnam and was chosen to be part of an experimental school for racial integration in the inner city of Long Beach, California. Naomi's family was passionate about helping others, especially those who were suffering from oppression. These beliefs in civil rights and social justice are at the core of Judaism. Harold and Shirley adhered to the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. Martin Luther King. So before Naomi's first day at school, Harold and Shirley decided to give Naomi a little pep talk. Sweetheart, you know it's been just 1 year since our beloved Dr. King was murdered. God rest his soul. Because in 1965, African Americans finally got the right to vote, and ever since then, the establishment has been trying to stop the civil rights movement. But look at us now, sweetheart. Here we are in 1969 in Southern California, and we are witnessing voluntary school racial integration. And you, my sweetheart, have been chosen to participate in this historic event. There will be 2 African American children to every 1 Caucasian child, and you will be bused every day downtown into their inner city. Now, your mother and I know that this will be very different for you, but we are confident that you are well equipped to handle anything that comes up for you. Yes, sweetheart. You just remember all that your father taught you about non-resistance, and if a situation comes up where you feel threatened, just think that these children are as frightened as you are. Now, go be a peacemaker, sweetheart. Wow. Okay, Mom and Dad, I got it. Well, Naomi got to put into practice the teachings of non-resistance while in the bathroom with her new friend, Mary Jane, as they were greeted by one of the local neighborhood girls. Hey, Whiteys, give me your lunch money. Oh, stand back, Mary Jane, I've got this. I don't have any lunch money. What? All of you white kids got money. Now hand it over before I beat it out of you. Oh, I said I don't have any lunch money, so, even if you beat me up, I still won't have any lunch money, and neither will my friend. Girl, you's crazy. I was just messing with you anyway, so welcome to the neighborhood. Oh my God, Mary Jane, my dad was right. Non-resistance does work. Oh, Naomi, you were so brave. Thank you for protecting us, and I'm so glad I ran into you in the bathroom because I want to invite you to spend the night at my parents' house tomorrow because we're all going to go to Angel Stadium to see the Billy Graham Crusade. I thought because you want to be an actress someday and you love the movies that, well, maybe you'd like to come and see the TV cameras and celebrities, maybe even get some autographs. There'll be live music. Oh, it's so exciting. I know you're going to love it. Dear sweet Mary Jane, you know it was her Baptist mission to save her Jewish friend. Unbeknownst to Naomi, of course. Naomi's sense of adventure was piqued, but now she had the daunting task of convincing her parents to let her go. After dinner, Naomi presented her case. Sweetheart, I know you want to go be with your friend and spend the night there, but your father and I cannot in all good conscience let you go to anything Christian, let alone a Christian crusade, for crying out loud. Mom, listen. All I want to do is I want to go and see the TV cameras and the celebrities and just observe their culture. I don't care about all that other stuff. Sweetheart, sit down. It's time you learn some more history of what has happened to our people. Shirley, why don't you tell her? I would be happy to. Our people have been accused of killing Christ for nearly 2,000 years, launching Christianity's holy sanction of killing our people. Why, if anything went wrong in a Christian country in Europe or a Muslim country, the Jews were blamed and murdered. Do you know what blood libels are, sweetheart? That is when we were accused of actually needing human blood to put into our Passover matzah. Can you imagine such a thing? So that when some poor, unfortunate Gentile child died, the Jews were blamed. We were driven out of every country in Europe or forced to convert to Christianity. And then there were the Crusades, Bubby. Did you hear me? I said Crusades that wiped out over 50% of the Jewish population of Europe and even more in the Holy Land. So you can see, then there were the Inquisitions and the pogroms of Russia, which is why your grandmother came here, by the way, at your age, I might add. And the pogroms and the Inquisitions and the KKK and the Holocaust. Sweetheart, your mother and I have both lost family members in the Holocaust, and even here in America, we've been called terrible names and persecuted. Why, even my own father had to change our last name from Cohen to Collins because Cohen was too Jewish of a name to get a job with the government. Wow. So, you can see why we cannot, in all good conscience, let you go to a Christian crusade, right? It is their intention, sweetheart, to force you to convert to Christianity to save your soul from hell. Such medieval thinking, I don't even understand. Mom, Dad, listen, it's 1969 now and we have freedom of religion in our country, right? And you both have always taught me to be open-minded and tolerant and to seek out new cultures so that we can learn from them, right? Oi. She makes a good point, Shirley. You do make a good point, my Shayna Maidala. So listen closely to me. I can't believe I'm going to say this. We will let you go tonight because you are a smart, educated, and thoughtful young lady. But listen to me, Naomi. If you hear the words, any words like repent, confess, or sinned, I know, Mom, I know. Don't let them get me, right? I've got this, Mom. Listen, all I want to do is I want to go and see the TV cameras and the celebrities and get some autographs in my new autograph book that you got me for Hanukkah last Hanukkah. Who knows? Maybe you'll even see me on TV. Well, against Harold and Shirley's better judgment, they did let Naomi go to the Billy Graham crusade. Mary Jane was silently praying as they made their way up the bleachers to their seats. Mary Jane, I do love all the live music and everything, but I swear I just don't understand why they're singing so many songs about blood. That's so gross, ew. Who would ever want to be washed in blood? And I don't understand a thing Dr. Graham is talking about being packed and ready. Being packed and ready for some kind of second coming. I'm so confused. Oh, Naomi, this will all make sense to you very soon. Mary Jane, why is everybody standing up? Oh, Naomi, people are standing up to get ready to go down to the green if they want to. Oh, really? Well, that's what I've been waiting for. I want to go down to the green. You do? Oh! Mom, Dad, praise God. Naomi wants to go down to the green. Now, if I could just get my autograph book ready. I just want to get down to that stage area where the TV cameras are and see those celebrities.
We need a child converter. We need a child converter.
Mary Jane, please stop pulling my arm. I'm trying to get down to the stage area.
We need a child converter. We need a child converter.
Mary Jane, why is everybody yelling that? It's freaking me out!
Run, Naomi, run! We warn you not to go to a crusade. Nobody expected the Spanish Inquisition. You're all the same. Don't tell them you're Jewish. Now, Naomi, it is time for you to be saved. Do you repent of your sins?
Oh my God, she just said saved and repent.
And confess Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior.
And confess.
Don't let them get you, Naomi. Repeat after me the sinner's prayer.
Oh, listen, ladies. There's some kind of terrible mistake. I just want to go home, Mary Jane. Take me home.
Heaven is your new home, child.
I do believe in spooks. I do believe in spooks. I do.
And now, dear, we must get your address so that we can pick you up on Sunday for church.
Oh no. Well, of course, Shirley never let them take Naomi to church, and all was well at the Collins home. I had you scared for a minute, didn't I? Well, the 60s were officially over, and Naomi, her year at the inner city school was a great success for all. It was time for Naomi to go to her own public junior high school. Now, this school served both sides of the track and was indeed a world she was not in the least bit prepared for. Having once been sheltered in separate bungalows for the gifted children, she was now like Alice, going down the rabbit hole in a newly found world of lowriders, football players, cheerleaders, surfers, and stoners. All of this combined with the onset of puberty, and my dear, sweet Naomi had to develop some new skill sets. She had no class distinctions, and she made friends with everybody. Why, her skinny friends gave her diet pills. Her stoner friends shared their marijuana and LSD. The surfer boys taught her how to surf, and she remained in the Honor Society Orchestra and Drama Club. By the 9th grade, she was thin, tanned, popular, and even got to put into practice her political activism by serving her school as student body president. Thank you. In the summer of 1973, Naomi had graduated junior high school and was ready for a bitchin' summer, as they say in those yearbooks. How many of you here had bitchin' summer in your yearbooks? Yes. Her goal of tanning, surfing, and partying were interrupted by her parents' choice to go on an international trip to Greece and Israel. Naomi and her sister Beth were very excited because, well, these countries were on the Mediterranean. Naomi could still work on her tan while being away from home. Naomi loved the ancient history, the beautiful beaches, and, did I mention the boys? Well, I mean, Naomi always loved to be the center of attention of some well-bodied males. Oh, if you don't get it, my apologies. I love it. You know I love my puns, but I know it's all Greek to you. It's okay. I know you're an afternoon crowd, but it's really okay to laugh. Moving on. It was time for Naomi, her sister Beth, and parents to leave this Hellenistic paradise and travel east to the Holy Land on a hot and stuffy bus. Beth, I so love staying at that kibbutz. There were so many foxy guys there. I know, Naomi, but I think I'm gonna be sick. Girls, look over there. That is the beautiful Mediterranean Sea. Did you know that Tel Aviv was the first all-Jewish city founded in 1909 and later became the temporary capital of Israel because Jerusalem was occupied by Jordan? Well, Theodor Herzl, one of the founding fathers of Zionism, actually predicted that one day Tel Aviv would be the socialistic utopia for all the Jewish exiles coming back to the homeland. And that is exactly what has happened today. Wow. That's so cool, Dad, and everything, but can we go to the beach now? Girls, we must get to Jerusalem. Wait, do you remember the movie we saw starring Kirk Douglas? You know he's Jewish, right? It was called Cast a Giant Shadow.
Where do they come from?
Belsen, Auschwitz, Buchenwald, by way of Cyprus.
What are they saying?
The same song they used to sing on the way to the gas chambers. And as most of our songs, it begins next year in Jerusalem.
Next year in Jerusalem.
And we are traveling on the very road that was used to liberate Jerusalem from after 2,000 years of foreign occupation. It was just a miracle. Oh, Harold, I never thought about it like that before. Far out, Dad. Hey, Mom, do you see that camel over there and that cool Arab guy? Do you think we could get out of this bus now and maybe ride the camel? Oh, sweetheart, I think that's a really good idea. I mean, we could all use a break from this bus, especially your sister. I'm so sad. And from here, we'll be able to walk into the old city of Jerusalem. Oh my God, I'm so glad to be down off that camel. That was scarier than I thought. Wow, this old city is so cool. Girls, we are now in the Christian quarter, and this is the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. It is considered to be the holiest site for Christian pilgrims. And girls, we are almost to the Jewish quarter, where we will be able to touch the Wailing Wall that was liberated by the Israelis just 6 years ago in 1967 during the Six-Day War. Wow. This is far out, man. Whoa. I have never felt anything like this before. Not even on drugs. I swear, I think if God does exist, then he or she must live here. Well, you might be thinking that Naomi had her spiritual awakening during this time, but it was all a passing moment for her. Well, in her conscious mind it was, but I know it was planted deep within her psyche. Now in high school, Naomi met Andy, and in French class, and they became inseparables. He was smart, sassy, and he loved to dance. He introduced Naomi to disco music, quaaludes, and underground gay bars. Come on. a little disco in their life. After graduation in the summer of 1976, Naomi got a job selling encyclopedias door to door. Well, you know what encyclopedias are, don't you? It was before Google. It wasn't exactly the norm for a 17-year-old girl, but then again, Naomi was always quite outside of normal. Speaking of normal, Naomi became obsessed with the paranormal as a way to quench her spiritual thirst. Her new roommate Sue was a bit of an expert in these areas from her years of studying the occult. And she was happy to help Naomi to discover her psychic gifts. Sue led her down a path of exploring psychic phenomenon of all types. Naomi was grateful for the mentoring, and you know, she actually found herself quite gifted in these ways.
That's it, Naomi. Focus all of your energy on the mirror.
Okay.
Excellent job. Now, do you see what's on your desk?
A candle?
Yes. Move it across the table.
Okay. Oh.
Fantastic, Naomi. Now, using only your silent thoughts, communicate something to me about yourself that I don't know.
All right.
Oh, I see a photo of your grandma with you and your kitty cat named Fluffy.
Oh, Fluffy.
Very cute. I think you're ready to go on to the next level, Naomi.
Well, whilst Naomi was trying to break through to the fourth and fifth dimensions, many of her friends from high school were becoming born-again Christians in a frenzy of, it's the end of the world, the rapture is coming, and don't get left behind. Were you there? Her once cocaine-snorting, quaalude-popping, disco-dancing gay best friend, Andy, had now become a bona fide Jesus freak and was determined to save Naomi. His strategy was to take her to the very popular movie of the time, The Omen, as a way to scare her onto the straight and narrow.
This is not a human child. Make no mistake. There are those who die for him. There are those who will kill for him. Who is he? What does he want? Where did he come from? And can he be stopped?
Oh my God, I'm so glad to be home. That movie just freaked the shit out of me. I don't know what to do. What should I do? Maybe I should pray. Shit. I don't know how to pray. I know, I'll get my grandmother's prayer book. Look, it's right here. Oh, shoot, it's all in Hebrew. All right, I'm just gonna go for it. If somebody's out there and you're listening, I just need to know, is there really a devil or the Antichrist? Because, hey, then I'll believe in you, God. I mean, I just don't want to be on the wrong side. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Oh, God, I need a here. Oh, thank you, right. Amen. Do be careful. Oh, I made a funny. Do be careful. You don't get it, do be? Oh, okay. Just checking. Did the omen freak you out too much? Do be careful what you ask for, my darlings. Now, Naomi was determined to make contact this time, just as long as it wasn't with a little chap called Damien, whose mother was a jackal and had 666 behind his ear. Oh, God, I hate that thing. Naomi went back to the business of going door to door selling encyclopedias and seeking answers from her paranormal mentor, Sue. I was watching over her very carefully because now I have found that people who believe in spooks are really quite gullible. Oh dear, you look like you've seen a ghost. This situation is grave indeed. Oh, really? I thought that was good. All right, back to our story. Sue, last night there was a poltergeist in the kitchen. I heard it slamming the cupboards and the drawers. So when I peeked inside, whatever it was saw me and it stopped. So then I tried to go to sleep. But I felt something trying to possess me. I wanted to wake you up, but I couldn't move, like I was paralyzed. So I just screamed. And then it stopped. Sue, something really weird is happening to me. Oh, Naomi, I know. I tried to wake up to help you, but I couldn't, so I'm so glad you're okay. Listen, I really don't know what is happening, but I'll tell you what. Why don't we get back to work and go knock on some doors? Okay, Naomi? Okay, Sue. Sue? What the hell is happening? Oh my God, is that some kind of giant Rottweiler just staring at us from down the street? Oh, I wish I'd never seen the movie The Omen. It's just freaking me out. Naomi, take a deep breath and try to relax. Now, there are things that I haven't told you before because I didn't want you to get you involved. That animal is not interested in you, only me. Tell me what, Sue?
I told you to be quiet, Naomi.
Now, do as I say. Take a deep breath, go across the street, and let me handle this. Okay, Satan, I'm out of here.
You can never get away from us, Sue. We just want you to know that we will always find you. Come back to us and we will leave your friend alone.
Oh my God! Naomi could never explain what had happened to her on that frightful day with Sue, so she withdrew from pursuing the paranormal. Well, I hear a day with a talking Rottweiler could be quite rough. Never mind. My bewildered butterfly began to molt. All of these mysterious experiences had not provided answers, but left her feeling, well, quite unstable. She had to find a way to escape this conundrum and found cocaine to be her coping method of choice. Well, it was very expensive, but Naomi was very resourceful. She found a generous chap named Randy. Oh, yeah, and he was that. If you get my meaning, I mean, Randy. It's a British thing. Well, Randy was happy to give her what she wanted if she reciprocated. If you get my meaning, and I know you get my meaning. Oh my God, my head. Oh, it hurts. Shoot, where am I? Oh, no, Naomi, you slept with Randy. Shit. What's that poster on the wall? Wait a minute. Da Vinci's Last Supper? Great. I'm sleeping with a coke-dealing Catholic. I guess I'll never bring him home to meet my parents. Naomi, you have got to get sober.
Naomi, you're just like Mary Magdalene, aren't you?
Randy? Randy, please tell me you said something, please. God, I think God is talking to me. I must still be high. What's happening, Mary Magdalene? Mary Magdalene. I know that name. What do I know that name from? Oh, I remember Jesus Christ Superstar. Yes, she was the prostitute who Jesus cast 7 demons out of. Oh, shit. Did God just call me a whore? Naomi raced home to her parents' house. I know you're a little slow today. We all need another coffee, don't we? But to her surprise, she found her formerly gay best friend turned Jesus freak Andy waiting for her. Apparently, he too had heard a voice telling him to intercept Naomi at just the right time. My cracking chrysalis was in no mood for an end times lecture, so she got rid of Andy by agreeing to go to church with him if he promised, and to never, and she meant never, bring up Jesus or the end times again. Well, you know, Andy gleefully agreed. And he told Naomi to please be ready at 6 and to please wear a bra and shoes to church. Okay, Naomi, I swear, I promise that after tonight I will never bring up Jesus or the end times again. I promise. Okay, Andy. And for the record, I made a deal with God. I said I will come to church sober if he promises there will be no altar calls. Oh, Naomi, that's so ridiculous because there are altar calls every night of the week here, silly. And besides, I thought you didn't even believe in God. Well, I didn't say I did, and anyway, I just never want to go through again what happened to me at that Billy Graham crusade. And honestly, Andy, a bra checker at the entrance. I told you so, Naomi. Now be quiet, the best part's coming up.
As we pray, I would like every head bowed and every eye closed.
No. I am not bowing my head, and I am definitely not closing my eyes.
Naomi, I am Jesus. I am your Messiah, and it's time.
No, you can't be Jesus. I'm Jewish. Listen, you can be anybody but Jesus. Be Buddha, Mohammed, Krishna, Moses. I mean, for Christ's sake, you could be a Republican. Oh, no, wait. On second thoughts, that would be the worst thing to tell my mother. Just don't be Jesus.
Naomi, I am Jesus. I am your Messiah, and it's time.
All right, look, Jesus, I get it. You're Jesus, but you are going to have to tell my mother.
It's time.
What the hell was that? Andy, did everyone in here just go through what I went through? I don't know what you're talking about, Naomi. Seriously, the band is coming on. Be quiet. Shh. I so wish I had a doobie right now.
Tonight as we close, I feel the Lord has put it upon my heart to not have an altar call.
What?
I feel maybe there's someone here who is struggling in coming forward, so why don't we just have the band come and sing a final song, and if that's you and anyone else who wants to come, I'll be in the prayer room and you can come and pray with me.
Oh my God.
So the Lord bless you and keep you as you walk with him this week.
Naomi did go to meet Pastor Chuck and Jesus in the back prayer room. She thought that this man who heard from God and stopped altar calls could explain to her what had happened during the service. And just like Mary Magdalene, well, she found herself forgiven, delivered, and in love with her Jewish Messiah. This metamorphosis was as dramatic as they come. Of course, her parents were not pleased, to say the least. I mean, my goodness, they sent her to psychiatrists and rabbis, but nobody could talk Naomi out of what had happened to her. Just a few years after this experience, my budding butterfly was in Bible college. Oh, that was good, right? My budding butterfly was in Bible college. Well, she met and married a fellow student called Jack, who had aspirations to become a pastor. Now, she thought it would be a perfect match. Why, he the pastor, she the worship leader. What could go wrong? So off they went, and they got married in 1980, and within 4 years, they had 2 beautiful boys. Aww. Called Aaron and Drew. Sadly, this was not a fairy tale with a happily ever after ending. The marriage was more of a nightmare that she could not seem to wake up from. Well, my born-again butterfly went from saying, "Till death do us part," to praying for death. And of course she preferred it would be Jack. Naomi's wings began to wilt, and it was time for me to help. In 1987, I made sure that Naomi came across a very important book to help her understand her condition. Well, she read Codependent No More in just a day and joined the nearest Codependence Anonymous group to find her lifeline. Hi, my name is Naomi, and I am a recovering codependent. This is my first time sharing in the group, and I just want to say that I'm so thankful that I found you, because you have literally saved my life. I have been in an abusive marriage for 7 years to a pastor now, and we have 2 beautiful little boys. Well, I tried everything to please and appease him just to get him to love me, but now I understand that this is my codependency. I tried getting help from my church leadership, but they just couldn't believe me that perfect Pastor Jack could be such an asshole. I mean, a monster. Well, they tried giving me advice. It went something like this: Naomi, you need to learn to submit because God is trying to break your rebellious spirit. Yeah, really. It was usually after a perfect Sunday morning service that Pastor Jack would be at his worst. I can't. What is this trash doing here? God damn it, Naomi. Why is there such a fucking mess in the kitchen? Oh, Jack, I'm sorry. I had to get up extra early to get to church to do the sound check, and after getting the boys ready and myself, I didn't have time to clean up the kitchen. Well, I can't come home after a long day of ministry, Naomi, and find this bullshit everywhere. Now clean it up before I make it worse. Oh, okay, Jack, listen, I will, but please don't yell. The boys will hear you, and wasn't your sermon on patience today? I don't care if the boys hear me. They know you're lazy and such a slob. You know what, Naomi? I guess I just have to do everything around here, don't I? Maybe if you went to bed on time, you could get up earlier and clean this fucking mess up. But no, you're always practicing your precious music or talking to some needy person. Well, what about me? I'm the one who provides for you, Naomi, and you are to submit to me. Those are God's words, not mine. Well, actually, Jack, the scriptures say that we are to submit to each other, and that husbands are to love their wives as Jesus laid down his life for the church. Don't you remember that part, Jack? Don't you quote the scriptures to me, Naomi. Now listen, I'm out of here, and this place better be spotless before I get back, or there will be hell to pay. God, I just freaking... Well, all I could do was cry out to God to help me. And then one night he gave me a dream to prepare me for what was coming. So in the dream, I came home and opened the front door to my house, and there inside the door was a suitcase. Well, Jack came in and he picked up the suitcase, told me he was leaving me, and he walked out the front door. I wept, not because I was sad, but because I knew that I would be judged harshly by the church and that my ministry would be over. And then I heard this.
I will never leave you, nor forsake you, Naomi.
And I knew that I was going to be okay. So just a few days later, I did come home and I opened the door and there was the suitcase. Jack came in, he looked me right in the face and he said, "I'm leaving you." And you know why he told me he was leaving me? Because I wasn't fun anymore since I'd become a 12-stepper. So this time though, after he left, I didn't cry. I honestly felt relieved. Now Jack did resign from the church and I was blamed, but I had some wonderful friends who believed in me and stood by me because they knew what it was like behind closed doors. And honestly, if it hadn't been for my higher power in this group, well, I don't think I could have survived any of it. Thank you for listening. Naomi cocooned herself in healing, learning to detach and recover from the insanity that she had endured from Jack and her religious training. And you can read all about it today in her ebook. It's on sale today in the foyer for only $5. I just love those little plugs. Now, Naomi was in the chrysalis phase. It is in this utter darkness that the little body liquefies into a black primordial goo. It is a type of death. Now, without this death, reanimation would not be possible. Oh, this brings me back to a time when I was guiding one of my most magnificent monarchs, Cleopatra. I said to her, "Darling, death comes to us all." Ready? "Even if you are the queen of denial." I got you, didn't I? Never mind, back to our story. As the darkness began to fade away, Naomi could see that she never wanted to be under the control of a religious, misogynistic system. And in the same year that Jack moved out, Naomi opened Breakthrough Counseling Center with her best friend Diane. That was almost 30 years ago. And do you know, it is still serving people today in Los Alamitos, California. And to Naomi's surprise, she even found love again. Oh. And she married Paul. That Paul. Well, you can see he was a stuntman and would-be actor. Oh, he was fun, handsome, and the opposite of Jack. That Paul. Naomi went on to earn both her master's and doctorate degrees, writing her thesis on the mother heart of God. I was so proud of my darling. You can see why the chrysalis phase is so important, yes?
Yes.
Yes, very good. You are taking notes, right? Everything seemed to be going so well for Naomi and for most at this time. The year, 1996. Oh, it was a fun time. Well, unless you were a cow in England, that is. Remember? Mad cow disease. Never mind, it just makes me mad. And who could ever forget this? Come on, everybody. There was one of my favorite TV shows, The X-Files. Oh, I so wanted Mulder to kiss Scully, didn't you? Oh, and the comedies. Seinfeld, yada, yada, yada. And Frasier. I'm listening. And let's not forget the movies. Now, who knows what line this movie is from? Every man dies, but not every man lives. That's right. It's from Oscar winner for Best Picture that year, Braveheart. Oh, it was my absolute favorite. I don't know what happened to Mel, really. He used to be so good. Moving on to politics. Bill Clinton was elected to a second term of office and gave cigars a whole new meaning. Naomi had been very busy building her counseling center, which I have to say was doing quite well, and her boys were thriving in high school. Naomi was onto a new project, being half of a music duo called Imago V4. Well, I wonder what inspired her to call it that. Imago. Anyway, they made their own CD of contemporary inspirational music called Stand Up for the Children, and performed all over Southern California. Now the year was 1998, and life was humming along until Naomi's beloved father, Harold, had suddenly died of an aneurysm at the age of 78. Now the loss of her father now created a dreadful vacuum. Life no longer seemed meaningful. Well, you know, for you humans, grief is its own kind of cocooning, and after years in this state, it was time for Naomi to break through her chrysalis coffin, and I knew exactly what she needed: redirection into her higher calling. So, out of the blue, or synchronistically, as I think you say now, Naomi received an invitation to lead a marriage retreat in Israel. I knew this would reignite a deep passion within her, and once in Israel, Naomi would be able to reconnect with her buried feelings. Oh, Paul, I'm so glad we get this time to relax after the marriage retreat. Being on this boat on the Sea of Galilee, it's just magical, isn't it? Oh, I totally get it why Jesus hung out here. Right, Paul? Paul, are you awake?
Naomi, it's time to step out of the boat and follow me.
Lord? Is that you? Follow you where?
Home, my beloved. Come home to your people. It's time to fulfill your destiny.
Fulfill my destiny? What is my destiny, Lord?
Do you remember the story of Ruth? Your name comes from the story, Naomi.
Well, of course I remember, Lord.
Like Naomi of the Bible, I will take you out of exile and bring you to the land of your people, Israel.
What? Israel? so many miraculous things did happen to Naomi and Paul, confirming that they were truly being called to move to Israel. They incorporated a non-profit called Obed because of Naomi's vision, and they began bringing people from all over the world to experience Israel while learning the Jewish roots of their faith. And in the foyer there are flyers for her next tour. Coming up in March 2018.
Next year in Jerusalem.
That's right. Well, the tours kept them going while waiting for the right time to move, and in 2004, Shirley remarried, relieving Naomi's concerns about leaving her behind. Paul and Naomi decided to go on one more trip together, this time being the time to file for their citizenship. After much prayer, many interviews and background checks and paperwork, they were granted full citizenship in the state of Israel and became a part of history. Now you can clap. Now they had the daunting task of finding their new place that they would call home in the Holy Land. Hey Naomi, since we're in Jerusalem, why don't we just walk around a few different neighborhoods and just check it out? I mean, I know you want to live in Tel Aviv because it's close to the beach, but we're here right now in Jerusalem, so it doesn't hurt to look, right? Listen, Paul, if God wants us to live in Jerusalem, God can just send some random person right up to us and say, oh, hey, are you looking for an apartment in Jerusalem? Because I've got one on Obed Street. Okay, Naomi, chill out, all right? Hey, here comes somebody right now. Why don't we ask her if she knows anything? Shalom. Do you speak English? What? Of course I speak English. Are you Americans? You like that? Are you Americans? Are you looking for an apartment? Because if you are, you've come to the right place, because I have an apartment on number 7 Obed Street. Naomi, can you believe what she just said? She said number 7 Obed Street. Oh, slicha, excuse me. Why are you so excited about my apartment? Oh, well, my husband and I bring tour groups from America to go to Israel, and the name of our company is Obed. Well, then this must be God. Oh, slicha. Let me introduce myself to you. My name is Ilana. What are your names? Shalom, Ilana. My name is Naomi, and this is my husband, Paul. My last name is Cohen, and we just made Aliyah. Oh, Naomi Cohen. Such a beautiful Hebrew name. Did you know that Cohen is one of the most honored names in all of Israel? And you make Aliyah, Mazal Tov. Oh, Naomi, do you know what Aliyah means in Hebrew? Well, I shall tell you. Aliyah comes from the Torah. You know the Torah, yes? Well, in the Torah, when the Cohens, or the high priests, as you say, they would put their sacrifice on the altar, like that. Just like that. They just put it on the altar. That's how I would do it. Then they would light it on fire, like this. And when the smoke from the offering, like this, would go up to God, this is called Aliyah. You understand? It is a mitzvah, Naomi, a blessing for me to have you and Paul come live in my home. But Naomi, I must tell you something because you are Jewish. Now, there are Christians living in my building. No, they are good Christians, Naomi, because they love Israel. They come here to pray and to serve. I hope this does not offend you, because I would love to have you and Paul come live in my building. What do you say? Please come into my home. We shall have some tea and something to eat. Besedia? Okay. And just like that, Naomi and Paul stepped out of the boat and into their destiny. With citizenship and Obed Street apartment secured, it was time to go back to California to put their home up for sale. Their lovely home sold at the top of the market and in record time. They were in a whirlwind. Well, Paul was more excited and Naomi was a bit more fearful and sad about leaving everyone and everything behind. Naomi needed great strengthening for the journey ahead, and I knew just what she needed to strengthen her. Oh, God. This is so much harder than I thought. I mean, leaving everything I know and everyone behind to go live in Jerusalem. I think reading Bible stories and living them are two very different things. Lord, please give me strength.
Naomi, sweetheart, I am so very proud of you.
Dad? Is that you?
It's okay, sweetheart. This is so overwhelming because you are doing this for more than yourself. You are making Aliyah, claiming your citizenship for all of our relatives who perished in Auschwitz and for the generations of our people who lived in exile with no country to protect them. You are making Tikkun Olam, a reparation of the world. All of your ancestors stand behind you in tears, wishing it could be them and so happy that it's you. We are all so very proud of you. We are all here with you. Oh, and your mother will be fine. Harry will take good care of her.
Well, that scene gets to me every time. Thank you. Now settled into their new life on number 7 Obed Street, the next stage of metamorphosis had begun. Do you remember the story of the children of Israel in the wilderness? Yes? Please speak up. Oh, good. They were led by a cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. Manna was provided until they got to the Holy Land, right? Once there, the outward miracle stopped, and it was time for the maturation process to commence. So here was my precious pupa. The voice that had always guided her was now silent. And Naomi deeply struggled with feeling confused and abandoned. She was being guided by the divine into her destiny, but she did not understand that true divine destiny is about liberation from the ego. As the eminent Dr. Wayne Dyer said, ego is simply an idea of who you are that you carry around with you. Well, why do I tell you this? Well, you did buy a ticket to my master class on spiritual evolution, did you not? And this is really the story of Naomi's time in Israel. Hello, God. I just wanted to thank you for bringing me all the way to the promised land and then dropping me off right in the middle of another religious, misogynistic, good old boys club. Thanks a lot. So much for my destiny, right? I mean, between your silence and their hypocrisy, well, I figure I got nothing else to lose, so I guess it's up to you to help the next poor schmuck who comes in here for counseling and gives me their religious bullshit. Well, Deacon Dick, let me see if I understand you. You're telling me that you can't fire your secretary, the woman with whom you had an affair, until your wife loses weight and becomes less depressed, so then she can help you with the congregation. Is that what you're saying? It is. Well, that is the stupidest thing I have ever heard. And get out of my office. Well, Pastor Peter, let me see if I understand you correctly. You're telling me that your beautiful wife has no reason to be upset with you, even though she just found out about all of your anonymous sexual encounters from your pornographic chat rooms because you've already prayed and put it under the blood of Jesus. Is that what you're saying? And you're forgiven. Well, I don't think you are. Get out of my office. Oh, God. Worship leader Willie. I hear you're trying to shut me down. And I know why, too. Because I helped your wife uncover your pedophilia with your music students. And so your solution, let me see if I've got this one right. You're accusing me of witchcraft? And you want to bring me before the elders of Jerusalem? Whoever the hell they are. Because you think you can get them to stop me from counseling your wife? This is so ridiculous, I feel like I'm in a Monty Python skit. You want witch? I'll give you witch. Get out of my office! Oh, thank you. Well, Naomi was undone by the pressures of her work and living in such a small apartment, and she thought, well, if she got a bigger apartment, it would bring some ease to her comfort or her misery. Now, Paul, who's a bit on the tight side, he would have never approved of such a luxury. So, while he was away... Yes. Oh, you must know Naomi, don't you? My impetuous, melting monarch rented a penthouse apartment in one of the more desirable neighborhoods of Jerusalem. It was a beautiful stone Arab-style building with high ceilings. Naomi, yeah. No. You are not listening to me. Yes, I saw the pictures. No, I am not excited. I am trying to tell you that I'm in the hospital because I broke my ankle. And I have to come back to Israel right away to have surgery, Naomi. And a beautiful 44-step staircase leading up to that penthouse apartment. You can count them if you want. Did I mention there was no elevator? You're feeling it now, right? A 44-step staircase leading up to the penthouse apartment with no elevator. Paul just had surgery for his ankle. Okay, just checking. Well, Naomi did move into her dream apartment, but that dream soon became a nightmare. You see, soon after recovering from surgery, Paul's back gave out, rendering him completely helpless in their elevator-free penthouse apartment. The thing she thought would save her from her depression now became her crucible. Poor Paul. You know, I always feel so bad for Paul. He's so sweet. And then these terrible things happen to him. He just lay helplessly on the couch, just praying to recover so his beloved Naomi would not kill him for being such a bother. Well, their marriage became more like the Stephen King movie called Misery.
You're just another lying old dirty bird. And I don't think I'd better be around you for a while. Don't even think about anybody coming for you. Not the doctors, not your agent, not your family. Because I never call them. Nobody knows you're here. And you better hope nothing happens to me. Because if I die, you die.
Naomi and Paul prayed and prayed, asking God to heal Paul's back, but to no avail. This was all part of the divine plan. Can you imagine Mother Nature swooping down, getting her incarcerated caterpillar, tearing open its chrysalis and saying, there now, darling, you'll be fine. No, of course not. It is inside the blackness that reanimation occurs. There is no pretty way to die, my darlings, and the harder one resists, the longer it persists. My delightful Kelly Clarkson sang it so beautifully. Hit it, girl.
What doesn't kill you makes you strong.
Paul was healed after being on his back for 9 months and had truly experienced an awakening, learning the secret of total surrender. Well, it was his time to shine to help his beloved wife, who had really come to the end of herself. Okay, sweetie, just listen to me, okay? I think it's time for us to consider moving back to California. What? Move back to California? Are you kidding me? We didn't go through selling our house and getting our citizenship just to move back. I mean, that can't be what God wants. I would feel like a total failure. Oh, sweetheart. You have helped so many people here whose lives are forever changed because of you. There's no way you're a failure. Listen, I think our destination has not changed, but our route has. Well, Paul, I think 9 months on your back has done you some good. I mean, you seem so calm and grounded. Well, you know, I feel that way. And I've also figured out that selling our car alone will finance our move back, and we can be back in California in time for our second granddaughter to be born. Well, what a year 2011 was for Naomi and Paul. Well, they were ending a great chapter in their lives. Well, it's technically not an ending, even though it feels like one. I mean, does the caterpillar's life end, or is it transformed? That's right. I'm so glad you're listening. As with any transitional time, there was much adjusting to do. Even though they had physically left Israel, a piece of Naomi's heart was still there. Now they had settled into Sherman Oaks, California, to be near their children and grandchildren. They didn't know this area was called Little Israel. And wherever Naomi went in a new neighborhood, it seemed as though the Israeli culture was there too. Paul, why is everyone speaking Hebrew at Trader Joe's? What is happening to me? Is this some kind of cruel joke? I just want to go to Trader Joe's. I feel like I can't breathe. Oh, sweetie, what's happening? Are you okay? Oh no, I am definitely not okay. I can't breathe. I feel like I'm having a nervous breakdown. of this proved to be the final crushing hours of the disintegration of her identity. Internally, Naomi's worlds were melting into a black primordial goo of reanimation. Her cells were being regenerated, which meant that everything, and I mean everything, was engulfed in darkness. Oh, she was delighted to be near her family, but even this happiness could not stop the metamorphosis. Even her hormones were so affected by this change that she went into menopause. Now, darlings, have you ever noticed that most of women's problems all begin with men? Take it in. Menstruation, menopause, and mental breakdowns all begin with men. I can mail you the statistics if you like. Get it? Mail, M-A-L-E-O, just a pun, never mind. I know it's really no joke to suffer in this way, but to prove my point about men, what about gynecologists who perform hysterectomy? His? Oh, good. Her issues at this time were not caused by men, thankfully. It was shock that threw her into a final breakdown. Now, Naomi knew she had to get help, so she decided to go to therapy as a way to find some closure. Oh, thank you for seeing me, Doctor. I feel like I need help grieving and finding closure to what Israel was all about for me. I mean, honestly, I feel like Sandra Bullock in the movie Gravity, where she was cut off from the mothership, lost, hurling through space. I mean, I never thought I'd move back here, and to be honest with you, I feel like a total failure. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm so happy to be near my children and grandchildren and my family, but I feel like I'm lost between two worlds. Like, we live in the valley, but everybody here speaks Hebrew. I mean, so when I hear somebody speaking Hebrew, I start crying. When I smell hummus or pita bread, I start crying. And to make it all worse, I find out that the thyroid medicine I was taking was bad, and all of this has thrown me into menopause. Naomi, grieving the loss of your illusions of what you thought your life should have been or could have been is one of the most difficult and profound of human experiences. Why don't we start today with a breathing exercise and a mindfulness meditation to help you feel more calm and centered? Well, Naomi did get her medical issues sorted out and began practicing mindfulness on a daily basis. In her quiet times at home, she began listening to the teachings of Eckhart Tolle. All right.
You won't be able to surrender unless you are completely fed up with suffering. When you recognize that most of your suffering is self-created from resisting motives, then suffering deepens you and gradually erodes the man-made sense of self, the ego. This is the evolution of consciousness.
Wow. I think I'm finally starting to understand it now, that it's been my ego that's been causing me to suffer all of this time, and I am not my ego. Wow, what a relief. Thank you, Eckhart. Now I just have one lingering question. It's just a little question. What am I supposed to do with the rest of my life? Naomi's chrysalis was cracking open, and her brilliant, colorful wings began to spill out. New identity demands new skill sets, so I directed her to an online support group via Skype for professional women in the healing arts. Well, there were energy healers, intuitives, astrologers, and, well, spiritual businesswomen of all kinds. Hello, ladies. I'm in a bit of a spiritual crisis now. I've written my first ebook called 7 Days, 7 Steps to Living Insanity. And even though this is a great accomplishment, I'm really struggling in my soul for my true passion. I used to be so sure of what that is, but I just have no idea. I'm a complete blank.
You seem really uptight, Naomi. You don't have to be perfect. I mean, just relax. This isn't church. No one's going to judge you. You know, I love Jesus too, but I am so out of the church box. I think you've come to the right place. Don't you think so, Tala? Oh, you're really? What I see at the root of your suffering is your inner child.
Really?
She seems to be around 4 or 5 years old.
Really?
She's so sad and confused. Does this ring true for you in any way?
Well, actually, yes. I mean, when I was that age, it was the first time I prayed to Jesus, trying to connect with God. And my mom walked into the room and she shut me down. I was so crushed.
Naomi, I believe that you have had a very real experience with Jesus because he is your spirit guide. You need this connection or you will never truly be yourself. I recommend that you do exactly as you did as a child. Pray to Jesus and ask him into your heart again. Let's see what happens, okay?
Wow, I was never expecting this advice from you ladies. I was thinking more about opening my chakras or reading my astrology chart, but thank you, ladies. I guess I'll see you on Skype next time. Wow, go figure. I go to a new age group and they tell me I need Jesus. Well, I don't know what to say. I mean, all of this has been so confusing, God. I feel like you just disappeared on me and I haven't known what to make of anything. Oh, but since I'm open now, I'm not resisting. I'm going to try anything. Oh boy. I do remember when I was that little girl. Oh, I remember coming into my room so excited. I was so ready to pray and connect with Jesus. And then my mom came in so upset and she just shut me down. Oh, now if Tawa hadn't suggested this, there's no way I would try, but since she did, I've got nothing else to lose, so here goes nothing. Just like when I was a little girl, I fold my hands, close my eyes, and say, "Dear God," or "Jesus, please come into my heart again and teach me how to fly."
I told you ages ago that I would never leave you nor forsake you, remember? I trusted you, Naomi, more than you trusted yourself. Unless a seed falls to the ground and dies, it cannot bring forth new life. It is time, Naomi. It is time to fly.
Oh. Naomi cried and cried, letting go of all her deepest fears, that she would never survive the darkness. Her wings began to strengthen with every breath of forgiveness and reconnection to her soul and spirit. The force of unconditional love was reanimating her being, and my once cloistered chrysalis was now fully charged for flight. It was time to test those beautiful wings by making one more trip to Israel. Naomi and Paul were invited to lead their 13th tour to the Holy Land. And by no accident, I might say, the number 13 in Hebrew numerology is the number for love and divine oneness. It is the most sacred of all numbers in Hebrew, representing that divine love is always one with us. It was time for Naomi and Paul to find closure and peace in their hearts with Israel. Hey, Paul, come on in. It's almost time to light candles for Shabbat. Oh, sweetie. You know what I just realized? That this is our 10th anniversary of when we got our citizenship in Israel. Isn't that amazing? I'm sure you're going to tell me the significance of the number 10, right? Yes, of course, the number 10. It's all about coming full circle with closure. And here we are, in Jerusalem. Oh my gosh, it's so perfect, isn't it? I could never see the beauty in it before because of, well, honestly, because of what my ego was telling me it should or shouldn't be. But you know what I realized? Paul, you and I are stronger and closer together because of all of it. Oh, I'm so grateful. Isn't it perfect? It's time to light the candles. I just love Shabbat, don't you? Paul and Naomi's haunting questions, fears, trials, and burdens had lifted, which is proof that tikkun had been made. Tikkun means to rectify what was broken, to make whole, as in coming full circle. And now that this chapter had closed, it was time for Naomi to face her unknown future. You see, a butterfly cannot practice being a butterfly until it actually is one. You see? And now, my darlings, we have come to my absolute favorite part of Naomi's story. The definition for this stage of development for the mature butterfly is, wait for it. Ready?
Yes.
Imago! That's right, my little lepidopteras. Now it all makes sense, doesn't it? The journey of transformation is this. Our identity is like the confused little caterpillar who cannot recognize itself as it is truly meant to be. The long, arduous journey it endures is the magic behind its reanimation. Once it is reborn into the magnificent butterfly, it must exercise its newly formed self until it is strong enough for flight to occur. This stage is called love. I had been waiting her entire life for this perfect time for our introduction, because there are very specific rules for this kind of engagement, so you might want to get out your pencils again. Rule number 1, the pupa never, ever, ever gives up. Rule number 2, the pupa is constantly in an existential crisis. Rule number 3, the pupa has learned to surrender and trust the process. I know some of you don't like that P word very much. Rule number 4, the pupa is willing to do something outrageous and even crazy to prove to others it is not a caterpillar anymore. And lastly, rule number 5, the emerging butterfly accepts that there is no flight without expressing profound gratitude for the process and realizes that all of this is happening due to forces of love beyond its control. There, now you have it. I decided to introduce myself to Naomi while she was at home, once again praying for guidance.
Naomi, remember what it says in the scriptures? No eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no mind has imagined what God has prepared for those who love him.
Wow. Yes, I love that scripture. Actually, it's one of my favorites, but I don't know who you are. I've never heard your voice before.
Yes, you have, my darling. I have always been here for you. Remember when you were just a teeny tiny little baby? Your mother had a butterfly mobile over your crib.
Oh, yes, of course I remember. I love that mobile. I remember that my first word was fly for butterfly. Oh, you know what? I grew up obsessed with butterflies and fairies.
Well done, my beauty. We've both been waiting for the moment to arrive because it is time for you to fly.
It is?
Are you ready, beloved?
Oh my gosh.
Just close your eyes,
Okay.
take some deep breaths, and let go of everything you think you're supposed to be or do.
Okay.
And allow for the unfurling of your destiny.
Okay. Here goes. Oh, what's happening? I'm feeling something. I don't know what this feeling is, but it feels kind of good. Wow.
Beauty of the butterfly, but rarely admit the changes it has gone through to achieve that beauty.